Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel. Cayman's bigger, better network.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is For the Record.
For the Record. 1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Monday, the 19th day of February 2024, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please be extremely cautious when the weather conditions change, and we're expected to have some rain today. Had some earlier this morning as well. So I'm not sure. I've been in the studio now for about 45 minutes, so not sure if it's still a light drizzle outside or if the roads are wet. But as road users, you want to remember to adjust your driving or your walking or your cycling to suit the conditions under which you are operating. So if you're operating a motor vehicle, you want to ensure that you keep a safe distance between your vehicle and the vehicle that is in front of you. Normally, it is 1 car length for every 10 miles an hour. And when you go over 50 miles an hour, 40, 50 miles an hour, then you double that distance as well. Of course, we very rarely see that being practiced here in the Cayman Islands. And as a result of that, you end up with a lot of chain reaction accidents, rear enders as well. So please be extra cautious out there. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday to you as well. And to remind you that For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, proud to support your birthday shoutout. Coca-Cola is available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And also, For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9571. To those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. We want to make special mention of the passing of Mr. Cardinal DaCosta, another Caymanian icon in the music industry. As you know, he was a a composer himself and a performer. Also, what some consider and stand to be corrected, but he was the person to introduce commercial dry cleaning in the Cayman Islands to a certain extent. Like I said, it stands to be corrected. With that, we know that Mr. O.B. Webb, he had his pressing shop right there on Shedden Road as well, and he pressed as well. But as many of you may know, Puritan Cleaners was located opposite the Islander Theater. I think that is where, is it Calico Rackham's? That's where Rackham's is located now. Mr. Cardinal DaCosta's business was located there. When he opened, employed many, many Caymanians and continued to do so as well. So we want to extend our sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Cardinal DaCosta. To those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands, we do wish you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, we want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open this morning again. It is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, I'm going to give it to you, but I'm not sure whether or not it is fully functional. But if it isn't, we're still working on it. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. We also have 949-8037 and 949-6990. Our WhatsApp number 925-3261. Or email talk2oc@gmail.com. Follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. And remember, we are on Facebook as well. So let's go back to the For the Record birthday shout-outs, proudly brought to you by Coca-Cola and Superior Auto. So we are looking at today's birthdays. Miss Carmen Francis celebrating a birthday today, as well as Noel Willis celebrating a birthday. And also we have Mr. Lloyd Mills is celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Tomorrow he's celebrating his birthday. Let's see who. Mr. George Bodden will also be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. And then further down the line, on the 21st, we have Mr. Lester Timothy also celebrating his birthday. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or another event that is worth celebrating, like a wedding anniversary or a certain amount of years on the job, or even starting a new job or something, share those details with us and we will certainly give them a shout out right here on For the Record. And of course, we are extremely grateful to our sponsors for the Record birthday shout outs. Coca-Cola, proud to support your birthday shout out. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Also brought to you by Superior Auto. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune. Call them at 949-9570 or 525-9570. We're going to start off the discussion this morning with some feel-good news. Really feel-good news that we are going to share with you. And this one has to do with a promotion here in the Cayman Islands coming from the Ministry of Health. It's fairly long, but we're going to try to we do have a caller. Okay. So we will cover this when we return. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. My apologies. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
I'm in this traffic, and I'm not used to this traffic this time of morning. I'm an earlier bird than this.
Okay, and you're heading west towards town?
Yes. And let me tell you something. The driving is out here. It's ridiculous because what is people is doing, they are going from lane to lane, and they're not in, and just whatever lane is moving the fastest, they want to get in that lane, and then they get back into the next lane. It's just a zigzagging situation out here, and it is crazy. And people are popping up in the front of you, and demanding you to stop and let them, through and all that kind of stuff. Out here is crazy. I don't know how we don't have more fender benders than we have, because then they're not driving fairly. They're not using the road fairly. It's all about them. And if they have to get somewhere before time, they should leave home earlier, and stop coming out here risking and trying to endanger people's lives. They're trying to get to work safely and so forth.
Okay. What are the road conditions like out there? Is it still drizzling, or that has let up now? The road surface is dry?
It's dry, very dry. It's not drizzling or anything. Right now I'm by the lacing department, and we are still bumper to bumper. Believe me, bumper to bumper. But I guess it is what it is until I guess they bring that bridge up in the air that everybody wants. But I hope I never live to see that in Cayman. We just need to try to start controlling and get a better bus system in this island, and stop giving their Tom, Dick, and Harry driver's license and so forth. I mean, I people live in New York and don't own a car. Do not own a car, you imagine. Live in New York and don't own a car, and they can get where they got to go on a daily basis. And here that is not big. It's a problem. Everybody wants to drive. We don't have the roads.
Yeah.
And I don't care how many lanes we put. We will always bottleneck. And I just wish the road authority would look into this more and say, you know what? There's nothing more we can do with these roads. We got to go and do something else about the vehicles that we got so much off on the road. It's a shame. It's a shame. And if you have an accident, it is even worse. If you got a fire truck coming through, they got to squeeze through here and there. Ambulance, police, we don't have no roads, no lanes for them. No lanes. And we will never have any lanes for them. The way that we're going right now with all these vehicles on our roads. But anyhow, it's too early for all of this, but I heard you speaking about it. I just want you to know they're out here bumper to bumper and driving crazy, going from lane to lane to their liking, and don't care about the other individual. It's all about them.
Yes, caller. That is so true. That is so true. I'm not sure what do we do about it. People are operating as if it is a fundamental human right to own a vehicle, and and it isn't. It is a privilege.
It is the law. They need to make some more stricter laws here in Cayman. Everybody is thinking that Cayman is a bowl of ice cream, and we can come here and do as we please because we're not going to get charged, or we're not going to this, we're not going to that. They're not going to catch me, and they can't do me nothing because I got my PR and I got this and I got that. Excuse me. Or I wish you could bring a few police officers from America into this island. I bet you one thing, government will make some money with ticketing and bad driving and no license and no insurance and all those good things. Government would make some money. But oh no. But we'll see how it go one day at a time and stay in prayer.
Yes. We have to remain hopeful.
Yes, definitely. Oh, you take care, and if my nerve hit me, I'll probably call you back later, but I'll see how it goes. I want to talk to you about that bathhouse.
Okay. Okay.
All right, okay. Bye.
Take care. All the best.
Good.
Miss Susan, let's take that commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Royal James Anderson, 1923-1991.
Royal Anderson was born in Jamaica and came to Grand Cayman at the age of 3 with his parents, Isaiah and Oriana Anderson. He served in the Home Guard during World War II and spent some time at sea with national bulk carriers. In 1950, he married Garnell Frederick, with whom he had 7 children. He joined the Cayman Islands Police Force in 1953 as a constable and later rose to the position of inspector. Royal retired in 1976 and a year later was given the Colonial Police Long Service and Good Conduct Award. He joined Cayman Airways as store inventory controller, moving after 2 years to the security guards force at Owen Roberts Airport, where he remained until 1984. He then was hired as security guard at the Government Administration Building, where he worked until his death. He loved to sing and was an active member of the Bordentown United Church.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
You don't need to be great to start, but you sure do need to start to be great. We've all been there. The little put when we try to start the car. Starters and alternators will eventually go. When life happens to your car, Superior Auto can save your day. Superior Auto offers complete starter and alternator repair. Superior Auto, 525-9571 or 949-9570. Superior Auto, they keep your car in tune.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Every day, thousands of residents use our roads, and every journey requires responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences. So let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads. First, visit gov.ky/road safety/pledge. Read and check all the boxes, fill in your name, and click submit. It's that easy. Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I want to share this press release that was issued on Saturday, the 17th of February, from the Health Services Authority, and it has to do with the appointment of the new Chief Nursing Officer here in the Cayman Islands. And first of all, we want to congratulate the appointee, extremely deserving. You have heard her here on Radio Cayman, either For the Record or with Sterling Dwayne Banks talk today as well on many occasions. She is certainly quite knowledgeable in her field of profession. She is extremely articulate and also extremely passionate about her work as well. So here we go. Ministry of Health and Wellness pleased to announce the appointment of Mrs. Felicia McLean as the incoming Chief Nursing Officer for the Cayman Islands. The Chief Nursing Officer is responsible for providing guidance on professional nursing matters to the Minister for Health and Wellness, the Chief Officer, the Chief Medical Officer, and other government entities. The role provides strategic oversight for standards of nursing education, regulation, and practice across the 3 Cayman Islands. Mrs. McLean joins the ministry with 26 years of experience in nursing, having qualified as a licensed practical nurse at the then Cayman Islands Hospital, now the Health Services Authority, in 1997. She continued her career at the Cayman Islands Hospital until commencing her Bachelor of Science degree in nursing at Barry University, where she graduated in 2003. Mrs. McLean served at Cayman Hospice Care, now known as Jasmine, for 18 years, where she started as a trainee palliative nurse. She would go on to pursue advanced training to become a certified hospice and palliative care nurse and a certified lymphoderma therapist. I hope I pronounced that right. Her trajectory Jasmine would see her take up the post of clinical manager in 2013 and later in 2017. Due to her experience, qualifications, and dedication, she would become the Director of Operations and Nursing for the organization. In 2018, Mrs. McLean successfully led Jasmine through its rebranding in an effort to not only remove the stigma attached to hospice care within the Cayman community, but to also educate the public about the full array of services offered by Jasmine and to encourage early referrals for patients who were dealing with terminal illness. Under her leadership, Jasmine Villa, a 6,000 square foot purpose-built integrated inpatient unit and administration facility, was successfully opened in 2019. A crowning achievement for Jasmine and the Cayman Islands, made possible via tremendous community effort. In 2015, Mrs. McLean was awarded the National Heroes Day Emergency Pioneer Award in Health Services, and in 2019, she was the recipient of the Certificate of and Badge of Honor by now King Charles III for her work with palliative care in the Cayman Islands. Mrs. McLean has served on numerous national committees and boards related to health care, amongst them Vice President of the Cayman Islands Nursing Association from 2004 to 2007, Chairperson of the Nursing and Midwifery Council 2020 to 2023, and member of the Health Practice Commission 2020 to 2023. She also played a critical role in the committee tasked to create the law allowing for living wills, ultimately leading to the implementation of the Healthcare Decision Act in 2019, which formally recognizes advance care directives as a legal document empowering patients to express medical preferences in the event of becoming incapacitated. She's quoted as saying, I am thrilled to be joining the Ministry of Health and Wellness as the incoming Chief Nursing Officer for the Cayman Islands. I believe in cultivating qualified and compassionate nurses, as their roles are absolutely pivotal when it comes to the delivery of exemplary patient care. I look forward to leading initiatives that will improve the professional development for our nurses and ensure the highest standards of care here at home, not only via individual achievements, but also through collective advancement. The ministry is pleased to welcome Mrs. McLean to our team. Chief Officer Nellie Pucci added. She goes on to say the role of the Chief Nursing Officer is an important one, and we are thrilled to appoint a highly qualified, exemplary Caymanian as the first holder of this brand new post under the ministry. We look forward to Mrs. McLean's contribution to the team, as well as providing her with an ongoing platform to continue to contribute to the nation's health and wellness. When not working to advance Cayman's health care services, Mrs. McLean can be found at First Baptist Church, where she has served as a youth leader for over 20 years. She is married to Kyle McLean and is the proud mother of 4 beautiful children and grandmother to 2 wonderful boys. We want to congratulate Mrs. McLean on her appointment. We want to congratulate the Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Health, and we want to say to them, well done, thou good and faithful servants. Continue to do so. Continue to ensure that Caymanians take their rightful place in Cayman's society and in the advancement of Cayman. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 8 o'clock. lunch?
I'm having crispy edge pot stickers and some evolved keto cups for dessert.
And what's in the glass?
Aquabucha. Basically kombucha-infused sparkling water.
Ugh, all I have is bologna on dry bread. Where do you get this fancy stuff?
It's all from Foster's, Camana Bay, in the Foster's Fine section, aisle 8.
All this at Foster's?
Yep, with new specialty items each month. You can even visit fosters.ky/finds to discover something new.
Trade ya.
Foster's, better selection because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Grand Court trial for Cayman's Father of the House is scheduled to start today. Former Premier and former Speaker of the House, the Honorable Makiba Bush, is facing 2 counts each of indecent assault and common assault in the alternative. The charges relate to an incident involving 2 women at a tourism event at the Ritz-Carlton in September 2022. A visiting judge of appeal of the Turks and Caicos Islands was sworn in earlier this month by the governor to preside over the case. The Parliamentary Undersecretary of State for the United Kingdom Home Office says there are many takeaways from his recent visit to the Cayman Islands, where he talked with Home Affairs and emergency response leaders to discuss policing, migration, cybersecurity, and many other topics.
And it's really important to understand the challenges that are particular to the Cayman Islands, the challenges that we all share, the various common responses that we can deliver to some of those things, but also how we maintain a constructive dialogue going forward.
Earlier this month, Lord Sharp Epsom met with representatives from police, the Coast Guard, Customs and Border Control, the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority, and others. Cayman's Minister for Tourism and Ports discusses the benefits of tourism with his regional counterparts in Jamaica at the second Global Tourism Resilience Conference that took place in Montego Bay. The theme was Navigating the Future of Tourism. The Honorable Kenneth Bryan is also the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization. And the Alex Panton Foundation has launched the Cayman Kids Helpline, a dedicated resource aimed at providing vital support and assistance to young people and their families facing various challenges. The organization says the Kids Helpline was launched in response to the growing need for accessible information and confidential support for children, teens, and their caregivers. The Kids Helpline launched with a website and app, which are now live, and the phone line and text line will start as of March 7th. The phone and text lines will be open Thursday to Sunday, 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., and will be staffed with volunteers who are ready to offer a compassionate ear, guidance, and assistance to young people dealing with issues such as bullying, loneliness, academic stress, family relationships, and any other concerns affecting their well-being. For more information, you can head to alexpantonfoundation.ky. In regional news, Tobago economist Dr. Vanis James said on Friday the long-term economic impact of the oil spill could be profound, as it could lead to deepening of the island's dependence on Trinidad, depending on the extent of the contamination of the island's ecosystem. He said the oil spill could have a short-term impact on Tobago's tourism, as the story of the oil spill has been on international media. He says, quote, depending on the impact of the contamination, people could lose their jobs in the tourism sector and may be driven to work for the government on island. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Debbie Russ. Alexei Navalny's widow, Yulia, has said her husband was killed because Russia's President Putin couldn't break him. The opposition leader died suddenly in a prison camp in the Arctic Circle on Friday. In a video message, Yulia Navalnaya also accused the Russian authorities of hiding her husband's body. The Ukrainian military says it has shot down 2 Russian warplanes over eastern Ukraine. There's been no comment from Russia. The Palestinian Authority's foreign minister has told the UN's top court in The Hague that his people are suffering colonialism and apartheid under Israeli occupation. Riyad el-Malki also accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza as 6 days of hearings got underway. Houthi rebels in Yemen, who are backed by Iran, say they've struck a British ship in the Gulf of Aden. This follows reports that a crew had abandoned a ship in the area after an explosion. Thailand's former minister, Thaksin Shinawatra, has appeared before prosecutors to face charges of insulting the monarchy. They relate to a media interview nearly 10 years ago. Taliban officials in Afghanistan say at least 25 people have been killed in a landslide caused by an avalanche. It struck a village in Nuristan province. There have been protests in the Nigerian cities of Oyo and Ibadan against the rising cost of living. People are angry at the high rate of inflation and the decision to end a long-running fuel subsidy. Singapore says it will impose a levy on airline tickets to pay for the extra cost of using green fuel in planes. New rules are gradually being introduced. That's the latest. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Whether it's routine care or highly complex surgery, when it comes to your health, you want the best. Health City has Cayman's most comprehensive range of in-house medical services. Recognized for quality and excellence, Health City brings together expert doctors, the best technology, and the latest techniques to understand your health and ensure you get the care you need. From Camana Bay to East End, you can trust the team at Health City. Health City, world-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Let's take a look at the very latest weather report. Current temperature is 79 degrees. Relative humidity is 81%. The barometric pressure is 30.03 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 7 knots. Overnight low temperature was 78 degrees. Synopsis indicate cloudy, rainy conditions are expected across the Cayman area today as a cold front moves through the area. A gradual decrease in cloudiness and showers is expected from this evening as the front moves east of the Cayman area. Further north, the associated high-pressure system is expected to build over the eastern United States, supporting fresh northerly winds and rough seas across the area from this evening. Satellite images show extensive multi-layered clouds across the northwest Caribbean. The forecast for today calling for cloudy skies with a 60% chance of showers. Temperatures today will be in the mid-80s. Winds will be northwest at 15 to 20 knots, and seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet, especially on the north and west coast of Grand Cayman. Small craft should exercise caution over the open waters. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures dipping to the low 70s. Your winds will be north to northwest at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet, especially on the north and west coast of Grand Cayman for tonight as well. Low tide will be this afternoon at 1:56, high tide again this evening at 7:16. The sun will set this evening at 6:26 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. And the outlook is calling for moderate to fresh northerly winds expected to linger across the Cayman area through Wednesday morning and will gradually decrease thereafter. A small craft advisory is likely to be in place until at least Wednesday evening. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Brit-K, where people come first.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look this time at traffic. Traffic coming from the east, especially on the Linford Pearson Highway, is steady. Steady traffic on Cool Road heading to Georgetown. Eastbound traffic on Cool Road is moving along moderately. As we look to Edward Street, traffic cones in the area, so please drive with extra care. And traffic is moving along moderately. Out of Georgetown on Shedmore looking light to moderate. And on the West Bay Road, steady traffic heading towards the Georgetown area, especially in front of the Ritz. And some road works taking place there as well, so please be aware of that. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is flowing at a good pace, as well as coming from the West Bay 4-way stop. Steady traffic coming off of Agnes Way, as well as Bobby Thompson Way. Slight delays expected. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another outlook on traffic.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
And by National Road Safety. Be empowered. Help make our roads safe. Take the road to zero. Say no more to road fatalities in 2024.
Speeding is the highest cause of fatalities on Cayman's roads.
Brother, watch how fast my new car goes. Got it. But what if
he hadn't been speeding?
His friends hadn't been encouraging him.
What if we all just took the time to slow down and think? What if, as a community, we rose to the challenge of keeping our roads safe?
What if we all walked the road to zero
and decided no more in 2024?
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
And by National Road Safety. Be empowered. Help make our roads safe. Take the road to zero. Say no more to road fatalities in 2024.
Water Authority is empowering the future and building a legacy in STEM through its annual scholarship program. Applications are now open for the scholarship, valued at up to $40,000, for a student pursuing an undergraduate academic or technical vocational degree or diploma in a STEM subject relevant to the Authority's work. The deadline to apply is February 29th, 2024. Visit www.waterauthority.ky to apply today.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Britke. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have no guests in the studio, so our phone lines are open. You're welcome to call us if you have any questions, if you have any comments or observations, any suggestions, please feel free to call us. As long as it is fit to be aired on radio, Cayman, we will entertain your comments as well. I want to take this opportunity also to congratulate Miss Sharon Marie Martin on having the Georgetown Primary School renamed after her. And, you know, some people we know in the past, historically, not only here in the Cayman Islands, but elsewhere, there was the reluctance to name streets or edifices after persons while they were still alive. But how do you appreciate what people think of you if you're unable to do so when you're alive? So while we may understand the reluctance to do so, we also understand the need to ensure that people are recognized while they are alive and give them that opportunity to enjoy it as well. So we want to congratulate Miss Marie Martin on having Georgetown Primary School renamed after her. That took place. She's, of course, one of Cayman's longest serving school principals. She was the head of the school for 22 years, and we know that she was dedicated to that school. She loved that school, and her students loved her as well. So that ceremony took place on Tuesday, the 13th of February, was it? That's what this says here. I double check that, but I think it was. Yes, Tuesday it was, yes. So again, congratulations to Ms. Sharon Marie Martin. And yes, we have to recognize people's accomplishments, their service, their dedication. It needs to be done while they are alive as well. So again, Ms. Martin, congratulations to you. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. This was a question, this was way back in February, but it's interesting. Does anyone have any information on the date that the government of the day changed the vegetation line to the present high water line? Because prior to that, it was at the low water mark as opposed to the high water mark, but that was changed. And we can reminisce over when that was done. The important thing now, and the question is it too late to make changes as such that we get it back to its original low water mark? Or has the damage already been done, and is that damage irreversible as well? We see small island states, either independent ones or those that are either overseas territories or colonies, those that are associated with other countries, those that are a department of other countries, looking more and more to protect and preserve their heritage. In the age of globalization, we see more and more persons either voluntarily going to other countries or in many instances being forced to flee their homeland and to seek sanctuary in other countries as well. When that happens, then those smaller jurisdictions run the risk of being overrun, run the risk of becoming second-class citizens in their own countries, run the risk of their culture disappearing, and run the risk of possibly someday becoming refugees themselves. So I'm going to share with you, well, first of all, I'll point out that the British Virgin Islands, in their constitutional discussions and their proposed changes to their immigration legislation, they are looking at persons not being able to obtain belongership status in the British Virgin Islands until after 20 years of living in the British Virgin Islands. That is one step among several that they are taking. This here strikes even closer to home when it comes to the mother countries, and this has to do with a French, I won't call it a colony, but it's a French possession in the Indian Ocean. So the BBC's Hugh Schofield on the 15th of February wrote an article, French citizenship French citizenship row engulfs Indian Ocean island of Mayotte. That's spelled M-A-Y-O-T-T-E, Mayotte, French, okay? Says a speck of France in the Indian Ocean has become the latest battleground over the laws on immigration. A French possession since 1841, the tiny island of Mayotte is now a department or county of the Republic, that is the French Republic, which means in theory that the same rules apply there as in the Moselle or Maine et Lorraine. I'm not French, so forgive me for butchering that, or anywhere else in France. So basically what they're saying, that the rule apply to Mayotte as well as any other French, and any other place in France. Goes on to say, but the territory's difficult experience of mass migration is pushing President Emmanuel Macron's government to abandon the sacrosanct French principle of equality for all. Let's look at that again, right? Because of mass migration, it doesn't say how that mass migration is taking place. We will see if it explains it further, but it says that the territory's difficult experience of mass immigration is pushing President Emmanuel Macron's government to abandon the sacrosanct French principle of equality for all. Visiting the island at the weekend, there Interior Minister announced that the automatic right to French citizenship by virtue of birth on the island is to be rescinded. So, citizenship by birth in Mayotte, a small island, tiny island, it will be, they're planning on rescinding it because of the mass immigration that is taking place. I will continue to share this article with you. Goes on to say that a constitutional change to this effect is now to be pursued by the government. Crucially, the end of, and I quote, it's in quote, birthplace citizenship, close of quote, would apply only to the island of Mayotte, not to France as a whole. So again, they're restricting this to Mayotte and not to France in general. The reason that it is being restricted to Mayotte is because of their particular circumstance, their special circumstance where they are being overrun as a result of mass immigration. The article then goes on to say, but therein lies the rub. For different reasons, both the left and the right of French politics see the reform as problematic. Article goes on to say, the left says it is a breach of the Republic's principle of universality and opens the door, and opens the door to a citizenship based on racial origin. Let me go back over that. So the left is saying that it's a breach of the Republic's principle on the universal principle, and it opens the door to a citizenship based on racial origin. The right says, that is on the political spectrum, gave you what the left says, those are left-leaning. The right says that changing the rules for Mayotte are fair enough, but it is in France as a whole that birthplace citizenship needs to be abandoned. And we know what those on the right mean by that when they're saying that, simply because of the French principle that allows all of their French territories, even those that are independent, because most of them still remain a part of France and have representation in the French Parliament, that many of their former colonies or the population of their former colonies go to France as well. And you see that when you've seen riots in France where persons of minorities in France have been killed by officials and other issues, and you see stories about those neighborhoods that are impoverished, and are, while they're part of France, they do not necessarily reflect the general view of France as as a thriving country. So it goes on to say the droit du sol, which is the right of the soil, and you may have heard that in other settings where being of the soil, which means that you're born, also known as jus soli, is the legal notion that a person born on the territory of a nation automatically becomes a citizen of that nation. Its opposite idea is jus sanguis, which is right of blood, which confers citizenship only on the children of citizens. Now, Germany adopted that principle of the blood, that if you didn't have German blood flowing through your veins, you could not acquire German citizenship. Whereas for the places like the United States, if you're born in the United States, their constitution says that you are a United States citizen, irrespective of your parentage, as long as you're born there. So it goes on to say that for many, particularly on the left, the droit du sol is an important marker confirming France's status as a beacon of humanist values. I have to pause there because we have to take a commercial break. When we return, I'm going to continue to share this article with you because I want to engage in discussion because it is so relevant here in the Cayman Islands. We see people shying away from discussing this, and while we continue to kick the can down the road, we're being overwhelmed more and more. You hear our people complaining about our roads, about the traffic on our roads. We see the population statistics. We know where we as Caymanians stand within those statistics as well. People are hesitant to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it, especially those who have so much to gain by having a large population here in the Cayman Islands, irrespective of whether or not that population comes through natural growth or whether or not that population increase comes by way of loose, lax immigration policies. Folks, I'm going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Brand Source Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Branso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774. The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival is here, celebrating 20 years of world-class performing arts in the Cayman Islands. From February 18th through March 1st, featuring 8 unique performances, a mix of Cayman and international renowned musicians. View the full lineup of events or get your tickets at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. The 2024 Cayman Arts Festival, February 18th through March 1st.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. I'm happy to get through to you, but I'm sad that I'm sort of like killing your momentum a little bit on the thing that you are discussing now, because it is very, very important, and I followed a little bit of it online.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Yes, but the topic is the same one.
Okay.
I watched your program last Friday with the Honorable Chris Saunders, Ms. Teresa Pitkin, and Dr. Steve McField.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I couldn't call in because I watched it only after to catch up with some useful sleep. So anyway, so you see, OC, I was going to make this call even before you had that program, but I think it's even more relevant now because that's the topic I wanted to talk about. You see, I was very suspicious around this immigration committee matter because you will remember that some time back we were told, well, the report will be ready in September. It wasn't ready, and then this is 5 months. It's not ready. And unless I misheard something, it seems to me that there was interference in the work of that committee. Clearly, there are some people who don't like what has been announced in advance, that, citizenship is going to be limited to, not citizenship, our status is going to be limited to people who are either married to Caymanians or who are Caymanians by heritage. It is clear somebody didn't like it. That's the way in which Caymani works. I remember way back 2003, 2004, Mr. McCarthy announced, okay, we will have rollover not just in the private sector but in government. But after a while, it died off until finally they said, well, we are not going to have rollover in government. And at that time, they had already given 3,000 grants. So instead of starting to fix the problem, they started from the very beginning to make it worse. Okay? And then now, 2 decades later, this attempt apparently is meeting with all kinds of objections.
Resistance,
resistance. Now, let me just make a comment about what what I'm starting to wonder about Cayman. What are people in Cayman voting for, OC? Next year, there's going to be an election. What are people voting for? I mean, I heard the Honorable Chris Saunders on Friday talk about how he became tough on work permits and so forth, and then he goes to caucus. According to what he said, only 2 ministers, which he named, could support him. The majority couldn't support him. So the way I feel right now is that the governments in general, with very few exceptions, are not trying to do what the people want them to do. Governments, regardless of who you are, I don't care whether it was Cayman Democratic Party, the West Bay Alliance, all those alliances and parties which have been there, I don't know what people are voting for because these are the issues that people have been concerned about. Now, let me talk about the issue about work preferences, which is related to the immigration matter. For a long time, I remember when I used to go and crosstalk quite often about 2018, we pointed out in that time that, you see, under Section 26 and 41 of the Public Service Management Law, Caymanians are only to be given preference in cases where their qualifications are at the same level as foreigners. And we pointed out that, well, that doesn't give you an advantage at all because it means that if I've got 10 years experience and that is what is required, but if you've got a foreigner with 15, they'll give the foreigner the job. That has been pointed out, and yet it has never been amended to do it in the way that other countries do it. If you qualify for the job, you should be given the job. There's this nonsense people have been talking about, OC, for example. They say, well, but how can you give... You see, Caymanians don't want to work. They just want to get the job. No. I have never met one single human being, Caymanian or otherwise, who has said that Caymanians should be given jobs which they don't deserve. The argument has always been that if they qualify for the job, they shouldn't have to compete with people from outside. And even Mario Rankin was making the same point on Talk Today, a few days ago. And then there is, of course, the Section 5 of the immigration regulations, which does not require a succession plan to be demanded. It may require that, or rather, there's no mandatory requirement that there should be a succession plan when you ask for a work permit. Now, again, I have to go back to what the Honorable Kenneth Bryan did. When he went to Parliament, when he was a backbencher, he said, well, can we create some targets? In 5 years, let us have Caymanians in the head and the deputy head positions in statutory corporations in government. Mm-hmm. He was not supported, not even by the opposition. What does that tell you? It tells you that actually there's nobody to speak for the people in Cayman. Mm-hmm, because even if the opposition, I would have thought the opposition would have said, well, yeah, let's set some targets. Now, for me, even what he asked for was not enough. He should have asked not just for heads and deputy heads, but for a whole change of the policy that to ensure that if a Caymanian qualifies should be given for the job. Let me end on this. There is also this practice that if you have been working, you are a Caymanian person, you are a deputy director, your director retires. Why do you have to compete with people from outside the government or even from outside Cayman? Why do you have to compete? If your references are good, you have been in the job for some time, why can they just give you that job the way in which they do it in other countries? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, and as a result of the lack of that policy, people who are qualified for the job, they say, well, you are qualified, but there's somebody who qualifies better from the UK. At the end of the day, my question also is this. What are people in Cayman voting for if they are not fixing these things which have been perennial for the last, well, since I've been associated with Cayman 2003, but they existed even before. What are people voting for? That is why in Cayman, the fundamental thing that people should be fighting for now is how to establish accountability with the government, because the government clearly get elected and then they sell you out. Mm-hmm. How do you establish accountability? One of the things you have to do is there has to be constitutional reform to recall candidates. I know that that's usually an extreme measure, but I think people in Cayman who are enlightened about these issues, and they have been calling about them, it is time that the system was changed so that the government can be responding to what the people want, not doing what the people in the private sector want. That's the way I feel. And when that time comes, when Caymanians are in charge, I know that I will also have a professional place in Cayman again, which I used to have until I was forced out. I thank you, Kosi. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Billy. For that as well. I'm going to say two things in relation to Billy's comments and going back to kicking the can down the road. Continuing to kick the can down the road may have the snowball effect that can becomes so heavy that it will no longer be able to be kicked, and it will roll back from the precipice that it has been placed and roll back and crush all who may be in its way. Putting that in a different picture, the longer we allow the problem to continue, the more devastating it's going to be for those persons who are affected by it now and who will continue to be affected by it. In relation to Billy's question about who will the people of the Cayman Islands be voting for, that is why we need to ensure that we keep our candidates accountable. And while people are arguing about, I want my 4 votes back, I want my 5 votes back, we need to concentrate on getting firm assurances from the candidates that you support that they will represent and advance some of the things that you want to see done. As far as immigration policy is concerned, when it comes to our legislators, some of them may be riding the fence or may be holding it back, but it is my personal opinion that those who want to advance opportunities for Caymanians, those who want to stop the swing of the pendulum in such a way that we are being overcome here in the Cayman Islands, that they fall within a minority. The other observation is that we have a tendency to talk in our social media groups and everything else, but no one wants to get out there and pound the pavement as well. No one wants to get out there and pound the pavement as well. So, the rhetorical question is, between now and the ensuing election in 2025, will we have changes to our immigration policies that will no longer put Caymanians at a disadvantage and will also put the Caymanian population in the trajectory of being a majority rather than a minority? Let's take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. And the phone lines are open. Toll-free number, if it's working, 1-800-534-8255. Yeah. Some people will have success getting through. Others may not have success. It depends on what... maybe carrier that, we're not sure what is temperamental, but try 1-800-534-8255, also 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp number 925-3261. So I'm going to continue to share this article until we get other calls coming in. So it talks about the automatic right in France as for example, in the U.S., where a birth certificate is enough to get a passport, a child born in France to foreign parents needs to apply for citizenship in his or her teens and then prove continuous presence. We had that here in Cayman, and to a certain extent it is still there. So if you obtain your status through a parent who obtained it rather than being born to it, or in some instances, even if they were born to it, once you reach the age of 18, then you had to apply for a continuation of your status. And if you hadn't been here or resident in the Cayman Islands for at least 7 years preceding your 18th birthday, that would be from age 11, then you would not be successful in the continuation of Caymanian status. Some people thought that that would be unfair and that we were punishing minors, for that. But again, remember that in many instances we developed our immigration laws and our policies from other countries. In our case, mainly the British. We first adopted the Caymanian Protection Law based on the Bermudan Protection Law as well. So it goes on to say that, however, the point still stands, birth on the territory opens the way to membership of the nation. But events in Mayotte show how in modern times pressures of demographic change and mass migration are leading governments to question what had until recently been matters of consensus. So again, I'm going to stop for a second and look at Mayotte and look at the Cayman Islands. So because of the pressures of demographic change and mass migration to Mayotte, that is where their problems resided. We see here demographic changes taking place as well. But the pressures that we have when it comes to immigration, and it is not through mass migration, but it is because of the fact that we have a thriving, a growing economy, an economy that is to a certain extent based on greed. The more we have, the more we want to have. And as a result of that, in a blind and reckless quest to be as rich and as affluent as possible, many are ignoring the effects of work permits, residency, status, and again, not looking down the road to see how they're likely to impact us later on. You would have heard me question MP Chris Saunders about the long-term effects, those persons who are on the margins of when they obtain permanent residence, where their salaries are just basically reaching the threshold to help them to qualify for permanent residence. If that person is qualifying on the basis that they have one dependent, but they come from a society that encourages large families, that individual who is on the borderline in terms of salary then decides to have more children. Well, their salary, and remember now, you've lost immigration control to a certain extent. You've lost it because that person now has permanent residence, either with the right to work or they may be a person of independent means. If they're a person of independent means, then that makes things a little easier, a little simpler. But if they possess permanent residence with the right to work, when they decide then that we're going to move on from having one child to having a second one, to having a third one, possibly a fourth one, we no longer have any control in determining whether or not their salary is sufficient to maintain them here in the Cayman Islands. So one of two things are likely to happen, or one of two things is likely to happen. Number one, they decide that the Cayman Islands is really, really, really too expensive for them to survive. Let me go back to my country of origin, or let me immigrate to another country where the cost of living is not as high. The other option, let me seek help from the government and then go to the appropriate agency to seek assistance, with my family and my dependent children as well. That is possible for it to happen. Now, if they do that when they are in possession of residency with the right to work, then the authorities, it will come to the authorities' attention, and that may prove to be problematic for them. But if they possess Caymanian status, there is no recourse for the government in that regard in terms of the number of dependents. Now, some people may say, oh my God, OC is so insensitive. What I'm doing, folks, is I'm presenting the various scenarios to you. When I'm gone, dead and gone, when For the Record is no longer on the air, you won't necessarily hear these things anymore. You won't necessarily hear the concerns. By that time, you will be experiencing them, and we may then have to become, to a certain extent, another Mayotte. We need to get control of the situation now. Let me see if I can continue to read the rest of this before we go to headline news. So it goes on to say that Mayotte is currently prey to a wave of civil disobedience born of local fear of being overwhelmed by outsiders. Folks, that fear is right here in the Cayman Islands. Fortunately for us, there is no civil disobedience at this point in time. Like the true Caymanians that we are, we say things under our breath, or behind closed doors we complain about it, but we don't want to put it out there in the open, not even to question those candidates who are seeking political office, to say to them, not only question them, but to hold them accountable once they have assumed office. So the article goes on to say, lying 70 kilometers, which is about 43.5 miles from one of the poorest countries in Africa, the Comoro Islands, Mayotte has a small boat problem that makes the UK's over the channel from France seem puny by comparison. Hundreds of people arrive every week in boats from the Comoros, in addition to whom there are now increasing numbers of asylum seekers from the Great Lakes regions of Central Africa. In the islands, hospitals, more than 10,000 babies are being born every year, the majority to mothers from the Comoros. Mayotte's overall population is estimated at 300,000, but only half of them bear French passports. Since mid-January, citizens' committees have set up roadblocks around the island demanding a crackdown on immigration and the crime they say comes with it. From all political shades, in Mayotte comes the same cry: end the droit du sol. If not, we will be perpetually the prisoners of our geography, said Estelle Yusufa, a Mayotte member of parliament from the independent Liot bloc in the National Assembly. We will end up welcoming all the misery of the Comoros and of Africa, also that people in Paris can parade their grand principles. Top of the hour, headline news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after headline news.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The former premier is in court today with his grand court trial set to start later this morning. The Honourable Makiba Bush is facing 2 counts each of indecent assault and common assault in the alternative after an incident involving 2 women at a tourism event at the Ritz-Carlton back in September 2022. Dozens of people have died in a tribal dispute in Papua New Guinea's remote Highlands region. The victims were shot dead during an ambush in the Aninga province over the weekend. The Highlands area has long struggled with violence, but these killings are believed to be the worst in years. An influx of illegal firearms have made clashes more deadly and fueled a cycle of violence. And Back to the Future star Michael J. Fox, who's living with Parkinson's disease, made a surprise appearance at the BAFTAs to present the Best Film Award. The 62-year-old actor came on stage in a wheelchair but insisted on standing at the podium to hand out the prize to Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Fox received a standing ovation, with many social media users posting they were in tears seeing him on stage. He was diagnosed in the 1990s and rarely makes public appearances. Those are your headlines. I'm Garsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
With Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. I'm sharing with you an article on the French territory of Mayotte, their immigration problems that they are having with an influx of migrants from the Comoro Islands and other jurisdictions as well, mainly asylum seekers. So if one were to look at the distinct difference between what is taking place in Mayotte and what is taking place in the Cayman Islands, ours is as a result of legal migration, persons being granted, legally granted work permits, granted residency, granting Caymanian status based on the laws, the policies, the laws and the regulations that we have here in the Cayman Islands. As far as the refugee situation is concerned, yes, we do experience the occasional Cuban migrant seeking to reach the United States. In the mid-1990s, we had our difficulties then. That was basically resolved. So our situation here has more to do with legal migration as opposed to illegal migration. But I'm going to continue to share this article as well, because it is really, at the end of the day, what corrective measures are put in place to address the issue. So it talks about the fact that hundreds of people arrive every week by boats from the Comoro Islands, in addition to whom there are now increased numbers of asylum seekers from the Great Lakes regions of Central Africa. So even from the main African mainland, they're coming. In the island's hospitals, more than 10,000 babies are being born every year. The majority of mothers from the Comoros. Mayotte overall population is estimated at 300,000, but only half of them bear French passports. It goes on to say, since January, citizens' committees have set up roadblocks around the island, demanding a crackdown on immigration and the crime they see comes with it. From all political shades of Mayotte comes the same cry: end the droit du sol, meaning end the citizenship by birth in the country. If not, we will be perpetually the prisoners of our own geography, says Estelle, a Mayotte MP from the independent Lyotte bloc of the National Assembly. We will end up welcoming all the misery of the Comoros and of Africa, also that people in Paris can parade their grand principles. Article goes on to say that the right to security is also a fundamental right, arguing that this MP argues. She goes on to say the right to move around freely is a fundamental right, but we are deprived of these rights because the violence is now so bad we can no longer live normally. Goes on to say that the French Interior Minister says he is responding to the appeals of, I think they're called Mayoras. People of Mayotte are called Mayoras. As the people of Mayotte are known, he says that once the droit du sol has been abolished in the island, the lure will disappear. Currently, most demands for regularization are from the Comoros families of babies who are born on Mayotte and therefore French. When the babies are no longer French, the argument goes the people will stop coming. So they see that as being a deterrent effect. So what we have is the whole phenomenon of anchor babies also in Mayotte. No one knows if that is true or not. For the left, it is not citizenship per se that draws immigrants to Mayotte, but the comparatively wealthy standard of living, and they warn that for all the government's promises to the contrary, what happens first in Mayotte could all too easily be followed in France as a whole. No one knows if that is true. I'm going to stop there with that because, again, like I said, we have our issues, we have our questions, we have our concerns here in the Cayman Islands. We see the people of the British Virgin Islands. They have their questions, they have their concerns. We see the people of the Turks and Caicos Islands. They have their questions, they have their concerns. They have problems as far as illegal migration is concerned with the Haitian boat people, as well. And, of course, our mother country, the United Kingdom, they have their problems as well. They're unable to stem the tide of illegal migrants coming across the English Channel from France. They have the problems of illegal smuggling, people being brought over in trailers from Belgium, and we have seen the horrific stories of, dozens of people dying in trailers trying to illegally enter the United Kingdom. So it is a problem all along, which takes me back to my premise that if the people of the Cayman Islands, through their elected representatives, were to take drastic action to ensure that we do not become a minority in our own country, that we seek to preserve jobs for Caymanians, that we will get the support from the United Kingdom government, because it is not just a Caymanian problem. It is becoming a universal problem. And while there are treaties, there are laws in place to protect those persons who are genuine asylum seekers, we here in the Cayman Islands cannot assume that enormous responsibility of being a safe haven for those persons, for all of those persons who are seeking a better standard of living. We have to be selective in terms of the numbers that we choose. We have to ensure that we are protecting those who call the Cayman Islands home as well. We have a caller. We're going to ask the caller to hang in there for us for a second. One of our listeners has sent a comment, and I want to share that before we go to our next commercial break. And this person says, "Good morning, OC. Respect, yes, true. Buildings and roads should be named in deserving people's names before they are deceased. Good that the school was named in Miss Marie's name while she's alive and well. I did a land subdivision and wanted it named in my name, but they said it could not be in my name while I was alive." Is that really true? I thought that we have subdivisions that are named and that were named before the persons were deceased. There's one prominent developer here in the Cayman Islands. I won't call the name, but you can figure out who it is. One prominent developer of affordable homes in the Cayman Islands. So I find that to be a little bit disturbing. If you have any more information on that, writer, please let us know. You said that I did a land subdivision and wanted it named in my name, but they said it could not be in my name while I was alive. Please share additional information with us on that. Let's take the commercial break. We're going to ask the caller to hold on so that we don't have to interrupt to go to commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Brand Source Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Branso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m. Brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're going to the phone lines. I want to thank that caller for being so patient. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Connor, and happy Monday to you.
Good morning, and the same to you as well. Hope you have a safe and a happy day.
Thank you. In regards to your comments before the commercial break about immigration, I just wanted to take a few minutes. I've been doing some research on other jurisdictions, similar to ours, and the Bahamas, I think, so far as what I'm seeing, have a good imprint that we could probably look at. And I do agree with Dr. Steve. Some months ago, he was referring back to the Caymanian Protection Law.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of that can be revisited also. I know our country has definitely changed, and the population has increased, and there's a lot of different elements that have changed in regards to immigration and so forth. But I wanted to talk about an incident that I witnessed last night at a very local restaurant in the Bordentown area. I drove out to get something to eat last night.
Mm-hmm.
After 9, and I witnessed an altercation. I don't even know if I should call it an altercation, because it was a gentleman. I mean, I don't even know what to call it. He was just plumbering away at this woman's face and head out in the parking lot, because I decided to sit and eat my food while it was hot instead of waiting until I got home.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up and I saw the gentleman was a little bit shorter than the lady, and I saw him punching her face and her head.
Wow.
I mean, just going at her, and she's standing there not doing anything. And he was talking, and so I opened my car door and I shouted, and I said, "Hey, hey!" And he looked up and he continued to punch her, and I put my food down and I got out of the car quickly and stood up, and I said and moved away from the car towards him, and I said, "Hey, stop that!" And he looked up and he quickly stopped, and then he moved away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would have happened to this poor lady if I hadn't been there. So I moved towards her and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I'm okay." And I said, "Are you Caymanian?" And because she looked like she was a Caymanian, and the gentleman looked like I shouldn't say he looked like, but he was obviously Jamaican by the way his
Mm-hmm.
his accent.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said to me, "I'm okay." So I walked off and I went to the back part of the parking lot to see if I saw the gentleman, and I saw him sitting off in the corner of the parking lot, and he saw me. But when he saw me walking to the back, he started to walk back to the frontward of the parking lot. So when I walked back to that direction, then I saw him walk back to her, and he's there. He grabbed her up again, and I said, "Hey," and he walked off. And I said to her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Are you Caymanian?" She said, "No, I'm Jamaican." So I could hear in her voice then that she was a Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Don't worry, I'm
but
okay."
But the nationality shouldn't matter at all.
No.
But I get the point that yes,
matter.
Yeah.
No, and it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to identify because the nationality is totally irrelevant. I'm just telling the story as it happened, right?
Got you.
So, and the gentleman, when he actually approached me, and he said to me, I'm sorry, I'm a Jamaican, and I know this looks bad, and he started to get into this conversation, and he started to explain, and there's a reason why I guess I mentioned that also leading up to this point too, because he was very clear that he had brought the lady here to the islands some weeks ago, was able to get her a permit and brought her to the island, and they had a domestic situation going on where he found that she was unfaithful and so forth. So he went into why he felt it was necessary for him to treat her like that, because he brought her here and he helped her get a work permit, and he helped her do this and do that, and now he found out she has a man and all that logistic stuff, right? So I pointed to the camera in the building, and I said to him, listen, it doesn't matter what happened, but this is not something. And unfortunately, a police cruiser, and kudos to the commissioner for it. It seems like that Bordentown area is getting more police patrol compared to what it used to get.
Okay.
And so unfortunately, a police patrol had just passed through the as I drove in to park to go to the restaurant, had just passed through the area. And so I will be reaching out to the commissioner and asking, reminding if they could have more patrols in that area, because it's a very it's an area that's known for problematic situations. The restaurant is a very local restaurant. It sells, good food and so forth. But like I said, it seems like there may be some issue there, but it was a very, very nasty situation to have witnessed. And I just want to remind people that these types of situations are not tolerated in our islands. We are not a people that believe in these types. I mean, we can't control what people do in their homes, and I hope, I'm not an advocate for domestic violence. In fact, I'm very, very strongly against domestic violence. But we want people to know, Caymanians, non-Caymanians, anyone to know. And I'm sure the commissioner is going to be very clear on this also, with zero tolerance to domestic violence out in the public or anywhere else. So I just want to get that out there, that I witnessed this situation last night. We want to tell everyone that this is a zero tolerance. It will not be permitted. It is not good to be behaving in this way. And they should take heed and be mindful that if these sort of situations are witnessed, I am sure that they're going to be arrested immediately. And
so, caller, question for you, and I ask this only for evidential purposes, whether or not you got an opportunity to record video in any of this taking place. Yes, we know you've said that the camera, was there. That would be my first question. The other question would be, when explaining the fact that he was Jamaican himself, was that to then sort of explain the fact that something like that is that type of behavior is accepted in Jamaica?
Well, to be honest, I didn't record evidence because I was so blown away when I saw what was happening. The first thing I thought to do was jump out to try to have the incident, have the abuse. Oh my God, these words are not strong enough for me to explain what I saw. But the first thing I thought to do was to just get out of the car and shout to just try to get him to stop, right? But I believe, based on how he was speaking to me, it could come across as though this is something that, yes, it's something that is almost, it happens quite frequently. I'm trying to be very careful with my words because I don't want the public to think I'm saying that this man said this happens in Jamaica all the time. But he obviously, by his wording, was saying, you know, it's not like it's a bad thing or an abnormal thing that has happened, you know, in his world or. But he made it clear, you know, I don't know if he said that because he might have heard me asking her when he was walking off if she's Caymanian, or actually I said, are you Caymanian or where are you from? And it's because she appeared to look like a Caymanian. And what a Caymanian looks like, it's irrelevant to me what people think, but there are many times we can look at people and say, oh, that person is from that place or that person is from that place, you know. And so I asked her that, and it's also because I hear that many Caymanians get abused, you know, in that way publicly also, and by Jamaicans. And again, I'm not trying to be prejudicial towards any nationality. It's just my experience and what I've heard. And so I could hear him talking to her, but she was saying nothing. So in that regard, I already knew he was a Jamaican, you know. So in that case, I want to say, based on his wording to me, it could come. It sounded as though it's not an abnormal thing that, you know, that would have normally happened otherwise, because like I said, he went into, I can't remember all of his words, but he went into detail. He brought her, you know, they were dating in Jamaica, and you know, she had a baby. She was pregnant and she lost the baby and she was depressed, and so he got her a work permit and brought her to Cayman to be here, and you know, and she did, you know, I won't repeat most of what he said. Sure. No, I remember because there was a lot of profanities and vulgarities and disrespect for the woman.
What I'd like, Caller, what I'd like to do, if we could talk a little bit more about this whole feeling that it is a West Indian culture, you know, in terms of beating up on women, and we see worldwide, not only in the Caribbean, not in the West Indies, but worldwide, the high percentage of femicide that is taking place throughout the world. And while we're now in a world, in a generation where women are become more and more prominent, where they are where they're occupying places of positions of influence and everything else, but there's still, you know, in many instances we see this whole issue of femicide. Do you have any views in relation to that?
Well, I absolutely think that's in a manner contributing to this, because even with this incident, the gentleman said that, you know, that it seemed like because she was finding a bit of footing in Cayman, it was contributing to the conflict between the two of them in their home. And I do feel that in itself, because we hear often, you know, that men are feeling emasculated because, you know, women are making more money than them. The woman is having to be out of the home a little bit more. That sort of thing. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question the way that you're asking it, but I do feel that could be a major contribution to you know, to some of these incidents where men are feeling. Yeah, men are feeling, because women are having more of a voice. They're being able to move up more in the world. I call it the feminine movement, and they're feeling threatened, I believe. You know, you know, I've heard men say that it takes a strong man to feel a strong man to still be in a relationship like that, where they don't have to feel threatened or lesser than because their counterpart is now, you know. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No.
So, yeah, I do agree that, I mean, worldwide, we see it a lot, you know, in say, for instance, the U.S. and Canada and the U.K. I've seen it.
Yeah, that whole feeling that men still believe, and of course, you know, it is practice and it's a culture in the Arab world, Muslim world as well.
Right, and this Africa whole, too, where a lot of people come from in the Caribbean.
This whole idea that the man must dominate the woman and is entitled to do so, which is unfortunate, and we have to get past that. Caller,
Right.
I want to
And
thank
even,
you.
Even in the Bible, we see that's preached in church, and from the Bible and so forth. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So that's my take this morning, Mr. Connor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Ms. Susan, let's take that commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
This spring, say hello to Los Angeles. Explore foodie havens, local markets, art exhibitions, cultural shows, theater, you name it. Getting to LA is easy with 2 non-stop flights weekly aboard Cayman Airways. Midweek airfares are now on sale from just $410 CI round trip. Some conditions apply. Check out our socials for more inspiration and visit CaymanAirways.com to book. Now is the time to see LA your way.
The Cayman Airways LA midweek sale has been extended until February 24th.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
In 2022, 15 people lost their lives on Cayman's roads, and 2,915 road traffic collisions resulted in 32 serious injuries.
So far in 2023, 9 more people fell victim to road fatalities.
Parents lost sons and daughters.
Children lost their mothers, fathers, and caregivers.
Young lives were ended before they even began, and stories were cut short before they could be told.
But what if?
We learned to share the road.
We stopped texting and driving.
We did not let our friends drive after a few drinks.
What if we just took the time to slow down and think?
What if, as a community, we rose to the challenge of keeping our roads safe? What if we came together to stop these accidents and fatalities?
What if we all walked the road to zero and decided no more in 2024?
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. I have a few WhatsApp messages that I want to share now. Do we have any caller on hold yet, Ms. Susan? No one. This person says, morning. I so enjoy listening to Mr. Belika. He makes such sound points and cares so much for our islands. Unfortunately, our politicians continue to do the bidding of the big developers and the money people. Person goes on to say, I can't understand how these politicians, especially the educated ones, can't or won't see the big picture and the danger of their decisions to the future of our islands. They go on to say, I agree with your point that you are discussing now. And on the flip side, the status holders with wealth, their children and families will get the jobs, and once again, generational Caymanians will be left out. This other person says, good morning, Mr. OC. Is it the fact that the present, is it a fact that the present AG is retiring? If so, is there a generational Caymanian in place that is qualified to be able to take over? I'll talk about AG's position a little bit later on. And my question there would be whether or not we need to have an Attorney General in our Parliament, or whether or not the Attorney General's position should be the traditional one and the Parliament should have its own legal advisors and not necessarily have the Attorney General, in there. The other question is, should our Attorney General be, as a member of Cabinet, be an elected official as well? We have another person who has written in and said we have persons who come here who have zero conflict management and dispute resolution skills arriving in the Cayman Islands. And I would add to that, we have people who come here whose culture dominating women is part and parcel of that. And as a result, we see it in the number of femicides that take place in those jurisdictions as well. This person has written and said, "Good morning, I'm just tuning in. Thank you for reading the excellent article. There's someone who, someone who wants to meet me, knows me from school." We'll get a point that as well. And I want to thank that listener for tuning in right here on For the Record, and certainly welcome their comments as well. One individual who is quite conversant, who's quite familiar with the situation with Miss Felicia McLean, wanted to congratulate her and also expressed the view and shared information in relation to her struggles when she was first with the hospital, the Georgetown Hospital, the challenges that she had that basically forced her or caused her to make the decision to go into the private sector, and they're certainly happy to see her back. They believe that she didn't get the support that she should have gotten at that point in time, when she was first at the authority. I have sought the person's permission to read the voice or to play the voice note on air. I haven't received that yet, so I basically have to paraphrase some of what the person shared with me. But last week, I shared with you the promotion of Mr. Tatum. And we see the promotion of Miss McLean here as well. While some people may say that they're few and far apart, what's happening with Caymanians, we want to continue to encourage it. And even more so, we want to continue to encourage our Caymanian people, our students, to get yourself qualified. Do not be dissuaded in any way from some of the obstacles that may confront you when you're trying to take up your rightful position in the Cayman Islands. Forge ahead. This generation is not the only generation to have to struggle. While some of you believe, and maybe rightly so, that in this day and age, with all of the challenges that our forefathers experienced, that the pathway for you as Caymanians in the Cayman Islands should be much smoother than it is. Unfortunately, it isn't necessarily so, but we should not and we cannot use that as an excuse for us laying down and playing dead. We have to be assertive, but in order to be assertive, you have to have something to back it up as well. You have to have those qualifications sometimes the experience, and you have to have that drive to move forward. All, folks, all is not lost yet. We can still regain control of the situation. I believe that there was one writer who asked a question as well. Let's see if I can find that one. I think it had to do with the Constitution. Okay. Yes, here it is. Says, good morning. Can you please confirm whether the United Kingdom has recently offered the overseas territories an opportunity to modernize their constitution? If that is true, why isn't any of the 19 lawmakers making this public? Well, first of all, our constitution, amendments to our constitution is always open, but yes, our lawmakers, our people have to take the initiative to do so. There are some changes, constitutional changes, that do not require any sort of a referendum to take place. Minor changes to a constitution do not require that. But we can go to the UK at any point in time and say we want to change this in our constitution, we want to change that in our constitution. And folks, believe you me, with the challenges that the United Kingdom is having now, and in particular, the Tories, the Conservative Party, you saw last week where they lost 2 more by-elections, one in a constituency where they had a majority of something like about 18,000. While the turnout may have been low, and these results may not be any indication of what may happen in a general election, things don't bode too well with the Conservatives. Whether or not a Labour government will be more receptive to changes, we don't know. We know that in the past, when we had the days of Gordon Brown and in the days of Tony Blair, and coming along with those, the Minister for the Overseas Territories, Chris Bryant, they were very, very, very hard with the overseas territories. But yes, we can ask at any point in time if we want changes to our constitution. Now, how long it will take is another question, but the door is always open. And if you want to know about the recommended changes, I would encourage you to visit the Constitutional Commission's website, and you will see some of the recommendations, some that have gone unheeded, that have been made to governments of the day in relation to constitutional changes that are necessary. Some of those constitutional changes that have a profound impact on what happens in the Cayman Islands. For instance, the former ruling in relation to qualifications for elected membership in our legislative assembly. There are those who feel that the judgment rendered by the then Chief Justice, Sir Anthony Smellie, was incorrect. But there was no ability at that point in time, I was argued, there was no ability to challenge that further. As a result of that, there's still question in the air in terms of qualifications. We should have that resolved. We should have the whole issue of the portion in our Constitution that says that there shall be a law that creates advisory district councils in the Cayman Islands. We need to strengthen that and make it obligatory that it must be put in place. The whole concept of advisory district councils cannot be left to the whims and fancies of our elected representatives. It should be put in place. We're going to take our last commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers, a compounding story.
I don't think people realize how pain creeps into your life. It has a way of robbing your strength. I really don't like taking prescription medication orally.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. They understand.
When it comes to compounded medication, it's personal. So whenever there's a problem with some medication or treatments that's not working right, then a physician will call me and say, hey, they're having bad side effects from this medication.
Compounding pain cream changed the game. Made special for me. Significant pain relief in the form of a cream. That is a new experience for me.
It's changed his life.
It worked.
Ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about compounding at West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Call 914-6449.
At Branso's Home Gallery, we believe in love at first sight, especially when it comes to closets. And we're spreading the love by offering 15% off on custom closets throughout the month of February. Let our experts design the closet you've been dreaming of, a functional space that's perfect for you. Save 15% on all custom closets this February at Branso's Custom Closets. You dream it, we'll design it and build it. Visit Ranso's Home Gallery today for a free in-store consultation. Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Phone 623-6774.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the news? Digicel is back with exciting offers that are too good to resist. Activate one of our brand new prepaid or postpaid plans today and experience telecommunications like never before. With more data, dedicated entertainment options like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, and endless social text data for all your favorite platforms. Digicel is here to make sure you stay connected and entertained. Whether you are on a prepaid or postpaid, you will also enjoy dedicated roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. It's all about value, and Digicel has got you covered.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your postal address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Remember, non-receipt of a bill does not constitute a release from liability for payment. Visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, to download and fill out our customer information update form, or contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or braccs@waterauthority.ky, or call 949-2837.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We are in the last leg of the show this morning. Is there a caller on hold, Ms. Susan? Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, dear Mr. Uzi.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. We'll try to weigh in on those subjects a lot. Suffice it to say that that sort of thinking that the lady was talking about, it existed in Jamaica and throughout the Caribbean, you know. And of course, it was much different than I left Jamaica permanently because I used to come over here for school holidays, but I left 57 years ago, so it's a long time ago.
Yep.
And very different, but we can see from music playing and listen to the talk and so forth that it's much more common now and so forth. We'll back to that. Not a good thing, but that's what obtains. I was listening to Mr. Saunders on Member Power, Mr. Saunders on
Friday.
They were talking there a bit on, as I've said before, and I've said it numerous times, I've taken a hammer for it, and a lot of people also agree with me. You'd be amazed. And I said, direct income tax or a salary tax is imminent for Cayman. It's going to be implemented. It's going to be implemented. It might have gone around in a roundabout way. It's a very brilliant politician, budding politician, see that, in my opinion. And I can hear his speech was more or less, it was a lot of facts in it by throwing out a lot of numbers. What that does, of course, is two things. That informs people, and it also confuses people. Because a lot of people are not going to follow those numbers, but they know in their minds what they have in thought, that this doesn't work, that doesn't work. You don't have to be any mathematical genius to see that the health insurance system was a good idea if applied the right way. But it's not working. It's not working. That's the first thing you hear people.
Caller, you still there? You're breaking up.
Because it's mandatory and it's of no value to you. And you're still paying money, even after it's no use to you, and you have a co-pay of 20% and so forth. It's people on a $6 hour salary just cannot afford. And the same thing happens with the pension, mandatory pay to private sector, so forth. Never heard of that in any country. Anything mandatory out of your salary. It must be paid to the government as a tax. Everybody pays it. Anyway, I will put that aside because it could easily be done. We know that there's machinery there. People that sell real estate, their salaries are mostly based on a commission, isn't it?
That's usually the case, and of course, if it's a person who's on a work permit, commissions, salaries on commissions alone are not allowed. So they have to state state a salary. So now, what they may do is they may pay you a weekly salary, even if you don't make any sales. But when you do make the sales, then they will deduct that from it. Yeah,
I understand that. But people are paid a commission on certain jobs, right? And those commissions are recognized by banks as part of your salary, I believe, with a real estate thing. And there are others, there are insurance salesmen and so forth. I think their commissions are recognized by a bank as a part of your salary.
I'm not sure. I can't speak for the banks.
So if they're going in for a loan, they wouldn't go with just from the bank with just information on their salaries. It might not be enough for the loan, but it would be interesting for us to find that out. Because what I'm going to say, you'll see what I'm going to say right now. People who are working those extremely small salaries and in the tourist sector or in the service sectors, so like restaurants and hotels and so forth, which is a great majority of people, great portion. Let me rephrase that. But they're paid a gratuity, and it's stated before on their bill and so forth, and before when you get your menu and so forth, that there's a gratuity charge. To my mind, that's a commission. It's a commission. It's nothing to do with tips. Their tips are separate. It's a commission because each and every individual in that organization is part of that percentage, usually 15% or so. So it amounts to a commission that they're paid on top of their extremely low salary, which everybody knows, and the government accepts it and regulates it as far as managers not collecting and when they're salary paid and so forth. That's all stated. But yet still, their gratuities are their commission, is what I'm trying to equate it to, because for me it is the same thing. It's not recognized by the banks, and our elected representatives have done nothing about this over the years, and people have complained about it over the years. The second thing I'm going to say it because they don't have enough time so people can get their comments straight. When we say that there's 10,000 passengers on 3 cruise ships or so forth, and people get the idea in their head that 10,000 people are coming ashore, I would like for us to tell the people how many people we should know these things. The immigration must know. Someone must know how many of those 10,000, that's the manifested quantity on the ship, how many of them actually come off. When we keep saying that it doesn't amount to much what the cruise.
But immigration doesn't clear passengers coming off per se.
I don't know.
They go. I can tell you that they go on board. They get a manifest. But as far as how many people come off, they really don't control that.
Yes, I don't know. But someone should know those important figures. How many people actually disembark?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine they're checking to see that people have embarked again. So otherwise, feels good just come and stay here, disappear into the crowds and so forth. Not saying that happens, but I don't.
That's the reason why there is, would be one of the reasons why there's not that much concentration on that, because we don't have a problem with people, getting off the ships and remaining. So it's low risk.
See, the point I'm making is this: that in actual fact, we don't know that there are 10,000 people. I don't believe it. I've been involved in cruise ship business now for many years, and there's no way. And you can talk to cruise tour people and so forth and see what they say. They don't agree with me that not many of those people do come off. It may be a quarter, it may be 1/5, it may be so forth. But that should make a big difference in our economy and what we're thinking about.
Caller,
That's all I'm merely saying.
Okay, caller, I'm going to try to read one more WhatsApp message before we go off. So I want to thank you very much, for your contribution. I have about 2 minutes, and I want to give this person an opportunity to be heard. Thank you very much, caller. So this person says, good morning to you. In regards to domestic violence occurrence, once you're experiencing domestic violence, you should be calling 911 and try to get as much ID as you can, maintaining awareness. You never should approach the situation unless you're properly prepared to do so. Domestic violence offenders develop mostly from the self-development of experiences growing up. It isn't much of a country issue. It's more of a personality issue. In other words, violent personalities result in violent behaviors. And the person says, I'm a student of behavioral science. Thank you. So they know that. Well, one of the things that I would say, they say it isn't much of a country issue. I would, depending on what they mean by that in the Cayman Islands, it isn't much. Maybe we don't hear about it, as much as is taking place. But even one incidence of domestic violence is one incident too much. And bear in mind now that domestic violence can be on either side. It can be something that is perpetuated by a female as opposed to a male, as well. But it is also rampant in societies. We see in Jamaica where some prominent individuals are now being charged with the death of their spouses, as well. But irrespective of where it's coming from, it is something that should not be tolerated. It should not be sanctioned. And yes, I was going to ask the caller the point as well when she got out of the vehicle. While she was certainly quite courageous in doing so, you also have to be extremely careful about your personal safety as well. Folks, we've reached that time of the day where we must part ways. I want to thank you again for all of your contributions, those that called in, those that sent WhatsApp messages. I want to encourage you to continue to support your radio station, the People's Radio Station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Always there for you. Call 949-60.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury, and JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Yesterday,
today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman.